Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about how vaccine can help us to end the COVID-19 pandemic. I think many scientists and overall we all believe that vaccine is the only way to end this pandemic. And I think that it is possible to end this pandemic through vaccination. But I wanted to share something else as well, so that perhaps the scientists can like tune the vaccination program depending on the weather situation. So first I'll show you the scary picture of the vaccination. So here you can see this is a study done on Chile. Basically this study is done on a very large number of population, 10.2 millions, and this plot here, left bottom plot, is really scary to me. You can see the cumulative incidence is higher for people with only one dose, and for unvaccinated people you see the cumulative incidence is a little bit lower, and for two dose cumulative incidence is much lower. So this is really striking for me because I really did not understand why vaccinated with only one dose can have cumulative incidence higher than unvaccinated people, and it's not very close. Even it looks little far off. And also I would be happy to see that you see here, this is the first dose uh, from the beginning, from the vaccine rollout, and this is the second dose, 28 days apart. So I would expect that another plot that would show for the vaccinated with one dose who were follow up with the two doses, and I believe that would also show somewhere more than like unvaccinated people. So the idea here is that if many people get sick during vaccinated first dose, like within 28 days, so those people will not be sick anymore after 2 days. If this is the case, so basically not every people are vulnerable to COVID. A group of people, depending on their lifestyle, their health condition, and so on. So if a significant number of people are already sick because of the uh, vaccination and also COVID, then after two doses, it is obvious that the number of people got COVID will be much lower. That's what we can see here. So if you are if you are doing a vaccine efficacy measurement, then you will end up a high number of efficacy, because after second dose you will get a much lower incidence rate. But I think this is not the actual picture, the actual effect. I think this study shows that vaccination really helps to get people COVID and to make people sick. And if you see the overall case plot for Chile, you will see that during vaccine rollout, number of COVID cases and death was higher. It's still their case number is significant. And here in the table 2, you can see that partially immunized people have high number of hospitalization. Admission to ICU is also higher than unvaccinated people, and also confirmed death is also higher than unvaccinated people. So it really doesn't make sense to me. We are doing vaccination to help people, and we are getting result completely opposite. So this is really concerning. The vaccine uh, effort has been done here with Sinovac or CoronaVac, the Chinese vaccine. I'll be talking about other vaccine as well in the next slide. So all these are very recent studies, and here this is the plot I got from these studies. You can see here this study is done on gymnastics in Oklahoma from April 15 to May 3rd. So while I was reading the article, I figured out these statistics. So basically, they found that there are 47 COVID patients, and there are total exposed person was 194. So out of 47, the partially vaccinated. So these numbers actually is coming from April 15th. During the April 15th to May 3, people also get vaccinated, and we'll see the picture later on. But on the April 15th, 27 people are like kids who are not eligible to vaccine. 13 are eligible to vaccine, but they didn't get the vaccination, and 3 are partially vaccinated, and 4 people are fully vaccinated. So they got COVID. And also you see the unvaccinated people looks like the number is high, but if you see uh, the exposed person, number of exposed person, you see the unvaccinated ineligible is 120, fully vaccinated was 17, and partially vaccinated or unvaccinated was 57. So if you do the percentage, for example, fully vaccinated 4 out of 17, if you do if you get it in percentage, you will see that the 23% of fully vaccinated people got COVID during this time period, and partial or unvaccinated people, this is 28% from the total exposed people, and unvaccinated, that is ineligible, that is also 22.5%. So if you compare A and C, that means there is basically no difference. So vaccinated people and unvaccinated ineligible people got the COVID with same proportion. And I couldn't find the exact data how many people are partially vaccinated, but if I would see, I'm sure that partially vaccinated people would show higher percentage in number. If I compare these two plots, you can see that. And also you can see that before like April 15th, the partially vaccinated, the number of people COVID who are partially vaccinated on April 15th was 3, but on April-May, the partially vaccinated who got COVID was number 11. That means within two weeks, this is significantly increased here. And so the first one and second one, this one is clearly shows that vaccinated people are getting virus with higher proportion than the unvaccinated people. So and also this is really interesting. So if you test the vaccinated people in a higher number, you would end up seeing that people who are getting vaccinated also getting COVID. And it could be possible that the vaccine side effect and COVID symptom overlaps, and that's why most of the vaccinated people who got COVID, who get COVID, are undetected. If this is the case, that means there is a possibility that vaccinated people can spread virus in the community while not knowing that he got the COVID. So I will share another study. So this is from UK. This is also very recent, and this is done on a nursing home from an outbreak, and they actually tested everyone who were exposed. Again, when you test it, you'll get the real picture. So you can see here, after first dose, more than 21 days after getting first dose, two people got the virus. 0 to 13 days post dose 2 means after dose 2, less than 13 days, 28 people, out of 28 people, 16 got the virus. So after full dose, 3 people, 3 got the virus. And see the unvaccinated people, there are 8 unvaccinated people, only 3 got the virus. So what picture you're gonna see here? So I think we need more such study to understand what's going on. And these studies are important. The first one I showed here is a very large group of people, like 10.2 million. The second one I showed a cluster study, like gymnasium study. They tested everyone who were exposed. And the last one I showed here, this is from a nursing home study. They also tested everyone who were exposed. So these informations are really useful. So that means you know who are getting the COVID. So these 3 study tells clearly to me that the vaccinated people does get COVID at a higher proportion, and when they get the higher proportion, they can potentially spread the virus to the community. And I believe this is exactly happened in like Israel, in UK, in India, in Chile, when during vaccine rollout, and also when weather was virus favorable, the number of COVID cases increased significantly. I'll be talking about the virus favorable weather in a minute. So I found this study is fascinating because this one also tells me that if you interfere with immune system, either with a vaccination or other uh, uh, clinical intervention, that perhaps can make someone COVID positive. For example, here 2 patients were donated uh, fecal transplant. Fecal were done on the fecal transplant. So people who donated the fecal, they are COVID negative, and who are sick in the hospital who needed the fecal transplant also COVID negative. You can see here they are COVID negative, and the patient number 1 and patient number 2, they are COVID negative before the transplant. But after transplant, interestingly, both of them became COVID positive, and also they got fever, and eventually they become COVID negative after like 30 days later in their stools. So please tell me why they will get COVID. And it is not happening just one patient, it's both of the patient got the COVID after fecal transplant. They got COVID, and also they got the fever, and eventually they are not very sick anymore. So this is another way, like exactly kind of the vaccine intervention. So you can also, I think they are also designing to make a kind of fecal transplant as a mean of a treatment. I think they are doing like a randomized control trial to see how effective it is. So I believe this is effective because it also initiates like fever, and fever helps to lower the virus replication perhaps. And so this is the way it works. But we have to take note here that this intervention makes someone COVID positive. I don't know exactly how it happens, but it could be possible that someone can have virus in their body from previous time, and it never bothered him or her, but because of this transplant, somehow that started making much of it, and that can make someone sick, or perhaps that changes the body function, and also they are actually telling that they didn't become very sick. So it is a way of uh, treatment, the rapid resolution of COVID-19. So I think this is the same way the vaccine works. So they can design this, and yeah, I think at some point you will see that fecal transplant work, and you can see some kind of efficacy, things like that. Uh, I think, I mean, it's a good way, but you have to be clear that it makes someone COVID positive, and then uh, it treats the COVID. So I would say it's a kind of controlled way of making people immune from the virus. So all these studies that I showed in previous 3 slides and this one convinced me that vaccination helps to spread the virus. Now I'll be talking about what weather really plays a role here. So here in this plot, like COVID symptom onset data and also date, here you can see I took from the gymnastic study, and on the right you see the plot here. So this is from our study, and we did a study on US COVID cases last year from indoor weather calculation. So basically what we did, we interpolated indoor wet bulb temperature from outside weather data. So wet bulb temperature, I made other videos. You can see what is wet bulb temperature and how you can measure them. I made another videos, you can do that, but the idea is we interpolated indoor wet bulb temperature, considering that people generally stay at 70 degree Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. So we measured indoor humidity based on outdoor temperature and relative humidity. And you see here that around 11 to 12 or 13 degrees Celsius, basically 12 to 13 degrees Celsius, count is reported much high number of COVID cases. But when it is more than 14 degrees Celsius, none of the counties I found that showed more than 100 COVID cases. So this is really significant, and this can tell you what weather condition, indoor weather condition, can make someone sick. Now say virus makes someone COVID positive. Now depending on the weather situation, someone can be very sick or someone can remain asymptomatic. So for example, right now in USA, people are getting the outdoor is getting super hot, and people tend to stay indoor at like in AC. So how AC changes the indoor climate condition. It makes air dry, and also it cools down the temperature. So in combination of these two effects, indoor wet bulb temperature can also be changed. So that's, I fear that we can see a lot of COVID cases, because at this moment, if people do not stay much time outdoor and they stay much time indoor, and if they stay in virus favorable weather condition, and because of the vaccination they may get COVID a large number, and they can get sick a large number as well. But if they can stay, for example, like 2 months ago or maybe 1 month ago, it was not very hot outdoor, people stay indoor outdoor, and indoor wet bulb temperature was not really significantly low. So I can show one study here that I already mentioned in the gymnastic study. You can see here, this is the red bar that shows the virus favorable temperature. If the indoor wet bulb temperature, that is denoted by black dot and line, so when these are very close or inside this red zone, you see the COVID symptom onset is much higher. I mean, people show symptom here. But when it goes up, like 18 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees Celsius, something like that, you see there is no symptom showing up. Again, when it drops, you see the symptom again goes up. So it clearly shows that indoor wet bulb temperature modulates COVID cases. Now, depending on the virus strain, this temperature can be slightly different. So I believe right now, because of the Delta variant, and Delta variant, if this study was done last year, if I would do the same study for Delta variant, perhaps this would shift a slightly right, because I looked at other studies like India and UK and so on. It sounded to me that the Delta variant could replicate in our body at a little bit higher temperature than the other variant. So the wet bulb temperature actually basically directly correlate with your nasal airway temperature. And when your nasal airway temperature at a certain degree Celsius, obviously lower than the body temperature, a certain kind of strain can replicate faster. So if your nasal air temperature, say 29 degrees Celsius, 30 or 31, I don't know, but every virus variant can be efficiently infectious at a certain, say, 31 degrees Celsius. Other variant could be 31.5 or something like that. So it's really difficult to say exactly, but I showed here a trend that when wet bulb temperature is significantly higher than 14 degrees Celsius, or I think for this one it's kind of about 15 degrees Celsius or 16. So 16, 17, 15, these are I consider as a safe wet bulb temperature. So if you live in, say, more than 15 degrees Celsius indoor, uh, it, it this is obviously a wet bulb temperature, not the air temperature. Please watch my other videos to learn more. So if you live in 16 degrees Celsius wet bulb temperature, you are most likely will not gonna be sick. So if you are vaccinated, please do not stay in cold indoor, and also please try to wear mask, because if you wear mask, your nasal airway becomes warm, so that will definitely help. So that's why I'm really very scared that people do not know this, and nobody is telling that they should avoid AC. Everybody is telling that you should get vaccinated. This is the only way. But I think yes, vaccination may work when this is a non-virus favorable weather. If you get COVID in non-virus favorable weather, you will most likely become you will not be sick, and you will be immune. For example, right now in UK, I consider the temperature is not very concerning, or maybe in Netherlands is not that much concerning. So people are getting COVID at a huge number, and this is happening because of vaccination. And perhaps many of them will be immune to the virus, and they will not likely getting the virus maybe in next winter or so. So there is a possibility that you can tweak this vaccination program on a certain environment condition. You can impose a mask wearing or something like that, and I think that will be much more helpful if I do not consider the vaccine side effect. Yeah, so I'm here showing that you see it is taken from worldometer, and you see the number of death recent days was really low compared to the last year, and I think this is contributed by vaccine. So when people are not sick or people do not show symptom, they are not likely to transmit the virus. But again, as it is getting hot outside, as I said, the virus will likely grow again and will transmit. As you can see here from the Missouri, we can clearly see that trend is very bad, and it will perhaps go up quite some time, like maybe for a month or so. And so this is the hospitalization data, and you can expect that many people may have been died from here, maybe died from here, because even though the treatment becomes much better from earlier pandemic time, but I think we need to be very careful about this weather situation. So here it looks good, it suppresses a little bit, but again I think it will again summer death may surpass the last year's death. So I think this is really important to think about it. I just wanted to make aware everyone that we should not vaccinate at this moment. You can do it some other time when weather is not virus favorable. For example, you can vaccinate people like perhaps uh, in the areas like New York, New Jersey, or maybe Pennsylvania, Michigan, in that region, Delaware, or maybe Maine, perhaps this region. But still, I can see that there is a trend of going up, virus getting up. So some part of USA the virus trend will go up sharply. Some part will go up slowly. So I don't think this is the right time. I think the vaccination program was good, like last maybe 2-3 months in USA, but not anymore. So I would request not to vaccinate at this moment, uh, based on the indoor wet bulb temperature condition. When it's like more than 15, 16, in that range, you can vaccinate in that period of time. But still, I'm very much concerned about the vaccine side effect. So I as a person, as personally, I would not take the vaccine, because I believe I can take care of the the virus based on the weather situation. I'm afraid of the vaccine side effect, but who does not afraid of the vaccine side effect? They can consider taking vaccination, but they should take at that moment when weather is not concerning. I hope I made my point clear. Thank you for attention. Good. Bye.